Hi, good morning. I hope the sound is good. I didn't do any check. Um, I just felt spontaneously that I wanted to share a message on video. And I trust that anyone who needs to hear this will hear this. So, good morning. I haven't done a live in a while. I've never really done a lot anyway, but that doesn't really matter. I dedicated my time the last months to writing my book, and I still am. But this morning I had this deep, deep insight that um, it all comes down to us. On whatever side of the spectrum you are right now, in this crazy world, this chaotic world where so many things are happening, the same counts. It just comes down to us. How we want to live and how we desire to design our future. Um, and what I realized again this morning, and I know this for a while, is that there won't be any savior out there to rescue us. There won't be, and the savior can be seen as in many ways. So it can be seen, you feel saved by the vaccine, which is your savior. You feel saved by your government who tells you what to do. That's your savior. Or you feel saved by one of the two candidates in the United States, the new president. You will be saved by one of those. And whomever it is, or you feel safe by aliens who are going to rescue us. And it doesn't really matter whom we feel safe by, it always is something outside of ourselves that creates a permission slip. So let me explain this. A permission slip is that we desire to feel, and that we use something outside of ourselves to feel safe. And we use this as a permission slip because we're not ready yet to really see through the whole veil, to really see through the whole picture, to really see that it really is just a reflection of something that's not in balance, not complete within ourselves. And as long as that's not complete within ourselves, we put a trust in others or in another thing or in another event or in something else to save us. And this cycle has been repeating since mankind. I mean, and it probably will for a while because we're all on different paces in our lives. We're all in different phases in our lives, in our journey to live. And for some, it is about become more conscious, like it is for me. And for others, it's just living life in a simple way. And for others, it's living life in a suffering way. And we're all and for more others, it's living life in a corrupt way. Who feel okay with that. So we're all in different areas of our lives and our evolution. Um, but in generally, it's felt that something's got to change in this world. I think that anyone feels that. We're not going back to how it was before 2020. So something profound has happened in 2020. And for some, and perhaps the majority on the planet, it feels like, well, this is our new reality. We have to deal with dangerous viruses. But we have, luckily, science to save us from this and to keep us in good health by using vaccines or medications. And there's another group who wants to fight for our freedom, and they're right too. And we all actually have the same goal. We just want to live happily, peacefully, um, in safety, with enough comfort, or in wealth. But in essence, we all have the same desire. And the only way to get there is that we trust ourselves and that we do the work ourselves and that we ask ourselves, and that's the honesty that comes here, that we need to learn to be really honest with ourselves where it is that we actually don't like it the way it goes. So even if you feel you trust the vaccine, then still you can ask yourself, is that really the only way to go forward? Is that really the only way that I feel really good about? That for the rest of my life, I will have to put trust in vaccines and in other medical supplies to stay healthy and to live as long as possible. And probably when you're in that direction, you might say, well, there is no other solution. But there always is another solution, or at least there's always another perspective. But are you willing to open up to that? Does it feel good to you to live like this for the rest of your life, that you are wearing masks for the rest of your life? Does it really feel good? Or that you need something outside of yourself? Does it really feel good? It doesn't feel good to me. Nothing I need outside of myself empowers me. Anything that I need outside of myself disempowers me. And even if you cannot feel it yet, at least try to play with it. Because anything that disempowers you is blocking you, is limiting you from living actually the life you desire. And I cannot honestly imagine that anyone is willingly to live a life suffering. That cannot be true for any human being. We don't choose that willingly. We might have ended up in that situation, and we might still blame the outer world or our past or our circumstances for the situation we're in, but it's not something we desire to stay in. We just can't see a way out of it. And for others who are aware they don't want to live a life with something that helps them in a medical way, like a vaccine or a mask, who wants to live free, as they say, even for those, it's still the question, if you really are completely honest with yourself about every level, if you not have put your faith that someone else will solve it for you. So it's super confusing times. It really is. And I was waking up and hearing some information or receiving some information. I thought, like, from a video, not as a download, but just from a video. And I thought, like, oh my God, it really is true. It always is true. We just have to do it ourselves. We have to decide how we want to live life on this planet together. Not each one of us has decided. And with that, we have to come to something that feels good for all of us. And if we all want to live happily, free, and in good health, then we might have different routes. But do all these different routes, directions, a way to get there, all feel good? I mean, can we find a win-win where it feels good for everyone, and most of all for ourselves? But in a pure way, in an honest way. Not because you believe something you've heard, not because someone told you something you trust. Trust yourself. It's the most difficult thing there is. We first distrust the other, or we first trust the other before we even trust ourselves. I know I've been there. The theme of trust was the main theme of this past year, and still is. And I still see myself blaming others for their behavior, blaming that I cannot trust the other for his behavior. But ultimately, I don't trust myself. Something, not the same theme, perhaps not the same subject, but something else I don't trust in myself. And I pick another topic, another subject to put it on the other. That might be a little bit abstract, but exploring trust is more than just experiencing being lied to, infidelity, or whatever. It's way more than that. And trust is a main theme on this planet as well, because who can we trust these days? What message can we trust? What YouTube channel can we trust? What government can we trust or not trust? What scientists can we trust? There's so many different voices messages. And we can choose to shut down some of the narratives and say, well, I don't trust it, so I don't listen to it anymore. And then we focus on another line narratives and we say, like, okay, we listen to that one and that we believe. And then that belief becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. But it actually, what it all does is it narrows your mind because you cannot see another perspective anymore. So there comes a permission slip in. You trust that narrative or that person or that source more than you trust yourself, because you feel, if I trust that, then I'll be saved. Then I know that eventually it will get better. So we always put a savior outside of ourselves, but we are our own savior. The planet can only be saved by the people, not by any government, not by any medical solution, not by any alien invasion, or whatever, or alien information, or whatever the sources you like to use or to trust these days. And at the same time, all these different sources give you information and different perspectives, which is great because then you can explore what feels good and what feels wrong, or what feels right and what feels wrong. But that's a human feeling. That's like a core feeling, like anything that you would do yourself to another, which feels humanly right to you, is something you can trust. So anything you don't like to have done to you by another, because it doesn't feel humanly right, is something you distrust. So it's always about yourself. What can I trust and what will I do if it feels humanly right? And that requires a huge amount of honesty, self-honesty, which makes it so difficult, because it's very difficult to be honest with yourself. Because shame and guilt and insecurity comes up, and it feels discomforting. And we might have to admit that we trusted something or someone and it didn't turn out right. That gives a huge amount of shame and discomfort, because we don't want to feel weak towards others. We don't want to admit that to others, so we don't want to admit it to ourselves as well. So can you see where we are keeping ourselves back in this current reality, which I think the most of us have? Like, we are in a lockdown, we are threatened by a virus, and we cannot move, we lost our freedom, we cannot even go out to a restaurant in most of the countries, we cannot do anything we were used to, we cannot live freely. And then stop there. And is that what you want? Is that what you want for the rest of your life? Is that what you want tomorrow? Is that what you want for the next 3 years or 4 years? And if I assume there is a no to that answer, then you can start asking up to the next question. So if I don't want that, how can I trust myself first? What kind of actions do I have to take for myself first? What kind of things do I have to let go? I trusted before, but they don't really feel good. Even if that source feels so valuable to you. And let go of all these sources, whether it's a newspaper, whether it's your government, whether it's your neighbor, whether it's your partner, whether it's your whomever it is. Don't put any source more on a pedestal. Don't put any source higher than yourself. Go back and feel what you want and what feels right to you. And if you need something outside of yourself today because you don't feel strong enough or you don't feel confident enough, that's okay. It's a permission slip. It's fine. but just see it as a permission slip. It's temporary. And stay open to other source of information to see how long that permission slip still needs to be there, and go back to yourself again. That's, I think, what's required right now of us, all of us. And it's more than a requirement. To me, it's a necessity, and that's what really came very, very clear to me this morning. Like, oh my God, it really is up to the people. It's up to us. It's up to you. It's up to me. And if everyone does one little bit, one tiny little bit of expanding themselves and becoming more honest with themselves, even if it's just letting go of one thing you deeply trusted outside yourself, and you have to come to terms with it and think like, okay, I have to realize, I have to go back to myself and do my own work and do my own little steps and create my own little ripple effect. Because we all influence each other. So we have to create our own ripples that feel good for us, that feel safe and that feel human, and that feel good for others as well. Okay, that is, I think, what I want to share for today. And yeah, there's no end. I'll just see when the next one comes up to share. Have a great day.